Hello, Miss House here, and in this video I'm going to show you how to make a line monster. So for this project you're going to need at least 2 pieces of white paper, a piece of black paper. If you don't have black paper, what you can do is follow the instructions, and instead of cutting it out of black paper, you'll cut the shape out of white paper and just color it in black. You're going to need something round that you can trace for the shapes of the eyes. This is just the top of a juice container. You can use a quarter, anything that's small that will give you the size of an eye for the monster. You're going to need a pencil, you're going to need scissors, a glue stick, and then depending on how you choose to do the monster, there's 2 different ways. You can do it where you use crayons for your lines and watercolors, or you use Sharpie or a block marker and color it with either crayons or with markers. So it depends on the coloring medium you choose. If you choose to do watercolors, I wouldn't recommend using your lines with a block marker unless you use a Sharpie, because if you use a Crayola marker and it happens to be washable, you're going to end up, when you paint over it, it's going to smear the line because it's going to make the marker essentially into paint. So when you do it, just be careful of what you use for your lines. So to start the project out, you're going to need to just take one piece of paper, and this is where you're going to create the lines that go from one edge of your paper to the other. You're going to fill your paper from top to bottom with a variety of different lines like we practiced before. So for this video I'm going to show you using crayons. So I'm going to start out with my crayons, and I'm going to start out with a straight line at the top. You can use any line you want, but you want to make sure you're going from one edge of the paper all the way to the other edge. And so you're going to draw that line going all the way across. You want to put down a fair amount of pressure. If you go too light, it's not going to show up when you do your painting. And next you're going to do your next line. You're going to change it up. So you're just going to move slightly down from that first line, and you're going to draw in your second line. I'm going to choose to do a zigzag line. Again, going all the way across your paper with that line, putting down pressure. And I'm going to continue that process, changing up my lines. Yellow might be a little harder to see, but again, I'm putting down pressure all the way across my paper, moving down my paper. Maybe this time I'm going to give some short diagonal lines. Going all the way across. I'm going to change up my color. Maybe this time I'm going to do kind of a blocky zigzag line. Again, going all the way across the paper and putting down pressure. On my next line, maybe I'm going to put in some swirly lines now. And next I'm going to put in a strong curvy line, a little bit bigger than the one I did above. And now I'm going to add in a wavy line, like the ocean wave. And then I have room for one more line. Maybe I choose to do a broken line. Alright, so once I've done with my crayons, I'm then going to move on and I'm going to choose to paint mine. So I'm going to take my paints. If you're painting, you want to have a cup of water and a paper towel to help dry your paintbrush in between. And so then what I'm going to do is, my water so it doesn't block the paper, and you're going to take and start coloring your paper. I'm going to start out with coloring the bottom. And you can either choose to color it where you just do random colors throughout the whole background, or you can choose to color each individual section a different color. So I'm going to choose to do mine in sections, but you can choose to do random however you would like. You're going to start painting. If you do the random, you're going to notice that the crayon, when you paint over it, doesn't get covered by the paint as long as you had put down enough pressure. So you're going to continue to paint. Make sure you clean your paintbrush off in between. Use your paper towel to dry it off. And then you go and pick up your next color and then start painting. Need more water, add more water to your color and paint in those sections. You're going to continue doing that until you've filled your entire paper. So I end up finishing my painting, and so I'm just going to set that aside to dry while I create my eyes and my mouth for my monster. So for the eyes, you're going to want to take your second piece of plain paper and simply just fold it in half. It doesn't need to be perfect. You're just getting it so that when you cut out one circle, you're going to end up getting two. It's kind of a magic trick. So then you're going to take your round object, whether it be a cap or a quarter, something for the eyes, and you're going to do this so you guys can see. Trace it onto your piece of paper. Make sure you're keeping that pencil nice and close to whatever you are tracing so that you get that nice round circle shape. I know you probably can't see it very well, but there's my circle. Then I'm going to take my scissors, and while my paper is still folded, I'm going to cut out that circle shape. And what I should end up with when I'm done is I should end up with two identical circles. Make sure that you're carefully cutting on those lines that you trace, so take your time. Cut out that shape. If you have too much paper, one thing you can do is just simply snap that off and put it to the side, but then you're just going to have to hold with your fingers that circle shape so your papers don't shift, so that when you're done, when I pull this apart, I should have two identical circles, and this is going to be my monster's eyes. So now what I need to do is in the center of the circles, I need to take a black marker, either Sharpie or just a black Crayola marker, and draw in a small circle for that pupil of the monster's eye, and then I'm just going to simply color it in solid. Do the same thing for your second eye, draw that center pupil, and then color it in. And then you are done for the eyes. You can put those aside, and I'm going to show you how to do the mouth. So for the mouth, I really don't need a large piece of the black paper, so I'm just going to cut off a small rectangle that I'm going to use and set aside the rest for if I want to add any details later. So I'm going to take my black construction paper and I'm going to figure out what I want for a mouth shape. I think I'm going to make it nice and kind of like a half circle, so I'm going to go and cut that shape out of my paper, and then I have that there. Then set aside my scraps or throw them away. I then have to go back to my white paper because I need to make the teeth for my monster. So if I keep my paper folded in half, I can get multiple teeth. Even if I fold it in half again, I should then be able to get 4 teeth, so you don't have to do as much cutting. For the teeth, you can either choose to cut out kind of like a U shape, or a triangle shape, or a rectangle shape. So that's what the U shape would look like. I'll show you what the rectangle shape would look like. So if I cut out a small rectangle, you don't need to make these overly big because you don't want your monster's teeth to be huge unless you really want huge teeth. So that's the rectangle. And then I'm going to cut out a triangle shape. And then this is what the triangle shape would look like. You would then glue those down. So if I separate these, you're going to notice I have 4 of the round ones. You would glue these down onto your monster's mouth. And then that would be your monsters. Inside of their mouth. You can change up the shape of the teeth if you want, or you can have it all the same. I kind of think I like the mixture of, so I'm gonna keep mine that way. And so now you're gonna put those aside for a second. You're gonna make sure you glue yours down. I forgot my glue stick, so I can't glue mine down. But you're gonna go then and go back to your original paper. And this is where you have to make a decision as an artist. Do you want your monster to keep that square shape of the paper, or do you want to go in and round it off and make it have some ears? If you want to have it have a rounded top, you'd go in and you would cut off the shape. So I'm going to show you on another piece of paper before I actually cut that so you can actually see. I'm going to show you with the Sharpie so you can see it. I'm putting down 2 pieces of paper so that the Sharpie doesn't bleed through. So if this was your monster page, you would go in and if you wanted to add ears, you make your monster shape however you want for the head. And this is what you would cut out of the top of your paper. So if you want to choose that, you can. If not, you can choose just to keep it square, and I'm going to show you what that looks like. So here's your monster's face. You got to figure out what's the top and what's the bottom, and then you would glue in on your monster's eyes, and then you'd glue down your monster's mouth. Remember, you're actually going to glue yours. I forgot to grab my glue stick for this demonstration. So then you can then add embellishments, and this is where you can use your scrap pieces of black. You can add in embellishments with eyebrows. So to do that, if you want, again, like 2 identical eyebrows, I'm going to make mine kind of surprise, so it's going to have curved eyebrows. I'm going to cut out that curved shape for the eyebrows, and then you would glue those down. You could add eyelashes to them if you'd like. You simply, to do the eyelash, you want to keep it as one piece, and maybe they have triangle eyelashes, so I'm going to cut out a small rectangle and cut out small triangles from that. Let's see what it looks like if I make a scary monster or a silly monster. So yeah, and I'm doing it with my paper folded, and because I had the fold, I gotta cut that off. And then I can add in eyelashes to the monster, and it kind of makes it silly. So there you have how to do the line monster. They can add embellishments if you want to add bows or whatever. You have your eyes, your mouth, are the must-haves, but then you can embellish with eyelashes, with eyebrows. If you want a girl monster, you can add a bow. If not, then this is the project. Thank you. Enjoy.